Right. Generating Genius is a program that helps develop tomorrow's scientific talent. By that, what we do is we are looking around, particularly the inner cities, for talented students who will later on become scientists and technologists of the future. So we start with students around the age of 11, 12, and we work with them up till the age of 17 till they go into university. And we really talent spot them, and we find the diamonds in the rough, and we later on we polish those diamonds, and then they're ready to go into university. So what it is a program essentially geared towards developing Britain's next generation of scientists and technologists. Because we're scientists and because we're technologists and because that's what the country needs, yeah, it doesn't really need any more footballers and basketball players, it needs more scientists.
The project has definitely got me into science and sparked an interest for me to go into science and to enjoy it.
It's this idea that children should just drift into what they want to do, you know, and usually that means the humanities or whatever, or something, you know, a little easier, and not challenge the children early enough to come into the home of science.
He's always wanted to go to university, but he didn't really have an idea, and neither did I really, which university would be a good university for him to study at.
And I think we need to do what they're doing in China and Singapore, where the disproportions are different. 70% of children in Singapore want to do science, compared to the UK where it's complete reverse.
Being on the programme has actually opened our eyes to the opportunities available to Javen to go to university, and he has set his sights on Imperial College London, or maybe Oxford or Cambridge, and previously before that we didn't really think that he would be able to go, or at least, you know, apply to go to these, because obviously we're not savvy to the sort of internal workings of you know, how you might apply and stuff like that. So being on the programme actually allows me, and it gives us information of, you know, the opportunities and the universities that Javen will be able to attend. And yeah, he's really looking forward to going to a university of, you know, the Russell Group, and getting good marks and becoming, you know, something great.
These kids have been really enthusiastic and interested in what's going on there, and I think it's very important that we invest in that and help them get benefit from that enthusiasm and interest. These kids are fantastic at actually standing up in front of a crowd. It's a really tough thing to do. You know, there's a crowd of peers, there's adults, there's their parents, there's people, strangers they don't know, being us, the judges, there to judge them, and they're actually standing there presenting. And the actual presentation and the way that they were doing that, there were some of them that had fantastic presence, there were some of them that structured their presentations really well, some of them that had fantastic you know, actual presentations, and then the voices were really clear. It was really good, like just the ability to control the stage and actually interact and persuade people was really, really good.
We made sonic synthesizers. Sonic synthesizers make sounds. Sonic synthesizers are made up of many different components, and with that many different components is capacitors, resistors which slow the electric current, and a breadboard, naming a few.
Girls, you can come back here at 1:30. Your lunch break is from 1 until 1:30. We're pushed the time, so you've got half an hour lunch break today. So you can come back here at 1:30 to finish your robots.
We've had a brilliant week. The kids are fantastic, really, really lovely, really motivated, really inspired, and they've really taken to writing code really quickly. They've really enjoyed every challenge that we've put to them. It's been brilliant. It's been absolutely brilliant. I think they're all amazing.
We've monitored our programme and we've got it evaluated, but the real outcome has been this year, where the students who came with us 5 years ago have now got places at university, and that's showing the success of the programme. So for example, in 2005 there were students who were with us and now are at the same university. They've got places at Imperial College, at Cambridge, at Leeds, and in terms of numbers, that initial cohort of 40, 38 of them are in Russell Group universities, the top universities, doing science, yeah? And now that for the group that was doing the worst in the country, and they're not from schools that are really very academic. Some of the schools are quite challenging, and yet they've excelled on the program. So I think that's a real outcome of that program. And of course we're starting the cycle again with a bigger group and adding girls as well, and off we go again for the next 5 years. The reason why we integrated girls was that we never felt that we excluded girls in the first place. We did in the sense that in terms of the philosophy of the organisation, we just thought we would just concentrate on boys first. And there are real reasons for that. If you look at the gender gap that still exists in those exam results between boys and girls, it's still very big. And also when you're looking at rates of disaffection, particularly with black students, you find that black boys, particularly from a Caribbean background, are doing very poorly in school. So what we wanted to do was put our resources to those diamonds that were genuinely in the rough. And if we looked at the league tables and all the data, the hardest diamond to extract were black boys, yeah? And so therefore we decided those were the ones that we were going to set our task to go after. And I think that's a commendable kind of way to move.
But overall, yeah, the winner, we had to come to a winner at the randoms.
So after we've done that and we've had significant successes with that, we said, right, it's time for girls to come on.
As you can see, we've got a sensor on the front, one over there and one on the back. The sensor on the front is a light sensor, and basically when it senses a certain amount of light, it moves backwards as we program it to. As it's moving backwards, if it bumps into something, the second sensor, which is the touch sensor on the back, makes the third motor, which has the arm on it, spin round.
And I think it's important that girls are there as well, because there are challenges for girls in the sciences, and I think for us it's important to have them there.
If I was at home, I would have, for example, I would have been at home doing nothing now, whereas here I'm here doing something, I'm learning, and I'm helping myself. In uni, I would like to do medicine. And I would like to get a master's at minimum or a PhD in medicine.
When people have asked me what we do, they often think that we do extra lessons or extra stuff to help children through the exams. We don't do any of that. What I realise we do that makes us really effective is two things. On the science level, we merge, I think, the arts and the sciences together. And so often in the English education system, you have to specialise. You know, artists do arts, humanities, and they're usually called lovies, and they just do all arts things. And then scientists do science, and they're usually called boffins because they just do science. And we wanted to tackle that stereotype. So what we do is we merge the two things together. So in fact, what looks like science is really often an artistic way of going about it, and it appeals to younger children in many ways. And so the kinds of activities we do on the campuses are linked to that. So one example would be computer programming. We actually teach the children how to do how to develop programming around art, so that they create artwork from doing quite complex programming. And so, you know, all the time I'm looking for ways to link arts and the sciences together, and that is a different thing that they do compared to what they do at school.
Oh gosh, you've got a problem. Say, have you got a problem?
Pocket, come on. Alright, man, calm down.
I saw you looking at me. I saw you staring at me.
You were staring back at me.
You got your chest.
Look, let's watch my sport.
You sure?
Come on,
There's nothing wrong there, there's no trouble there, I'm just trying to ensure a quiet silence.
I think he was.
Oh, if only I could just
Leave it out.
Yes.
Look at the asshole.
Well, right now, people are listening to watching a confrontation in a pub about football, which is quite funny because they really do make proper scenes out of it as well. How could you apply it to real life? Like training, for example, you could train soldiers, you could train doctors without having to ever step into the risk of harming a patient or harming yourself in any way. So it's like training without the risk factor of it.
From interacting with them, I think the good thing about them is they tend to think outside the box, because university students were much more knowledgeable, and knowledge itself can limit your thinking. So I think the fact that these kids, they think outside the box, they're very aware that these things that are happening in the environment, real environment, is really what we're really just trying to replicate here and investigate.
How we work with parents is we look for their support in the sense of getting the students to the program, also for them to allow us to be a kind of secondary parent in some ways. I mean, I've found over the years that the boys, when they've looked back at my role and the role of my team, we have become, like fathers to them.
People don't usually aspire to go to these places because they think that they can't, and the opportunity is there, you just have to look for it. And this program has given us the information that we need in order for us to be confident about applying to different universities or, having different opportunities in life. I think it's a great program, and I thank Tony Still wholeheartedly, because I think he's doing such a great thing. I just wish it was a bigger program so many more children can go on it.
We have signed up 100 students, 50 boys, 50 girls. Our target is to keep rolling that number over. So I want to make around about 600-700 students passing through the program. So at any one year we can count, say, 500 students at different points down the line, almost like a school. That are going through and then coming through the other end as well. So we have a sort of cycle of students now running through the program, and that's the strategy. We're on target for that. Yeah, we can do that. Yeah. I've charted back now at the universities that our students who did well this year went to, and about 90% of them were the ones that actually had an experience in those universities, and that's where they applied. So it's very interesting because they don't know. You could say University of Durham, Strathclyde, Glasgow, at St Andrews, Edinburgh, but these are just names, unless you've actually been there. And I think London children do tend to work like that. They're not going to take that big a risk, and you have to ask yourself, well, why should they? It's a place, and it's just out there, and they're going to spend 3 years of their life, and they don't know. Particularly if you're black as well, and you're in a context where you feel a bit isolated, the risk elements are even higher. So they then choose the one that's around the corner, and that may not be the university that's best for them, given their qualifications. And so I think that we should, and that's why I think Generating Genius is important in that sense, to bridge that gap for the Russell Group universities. Stop. Make it move again. Stop. Stop. Right. Move. Stop. Move. Stop. Move. Stop.
That looks down there.